Alchemist, stand up. I see you, Alchemist. All right. Welcome back in, folks, to another episode of Alchemy Crypto. All my alchemists, come out and play, yay! See you out there, East Coast, Tri-State. On the West Coast, in the Cacalagas, down south in the Gulf. Remember, nothing I say in this video is to be considered financial advice. I would like to take this time to thank all the alchemists here and all around the world. I do appreciate each and every one of you. No paid promotions on this channel, ever, never. Welcome to another episode of Alchemy Crypto. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate all y'all. Today is Wednesday, October 19th. Let's jump in. Bitcoin 18.1. The Brooklyn Project 12.99. BNB 272. Got XRP at 45 cents. Cardano 36 cents. Solana at 29. And Dogecoin 5 cents. Looks like Polkadot $6.17. And Matic still making moves, coming up 86 cents. Shiba Inu is 4 zeros out. You're into meme coins, looks like a deal. All right, a lot going on today. Let's jump in. Do a quick refresh, take a look at the overall market cap today. 958 billion, coming up on that $1 trillion mark, but there is not a lot of new money flowing into the sector right now in this bear market. Things are kind of stagnant. The market's just kind of chopping sideways today. So let's take a look in on the fear and greed. It was at a 22 yesterday. We're at a 23 today. So we're a little less fearful, but not much. But again, let me remind you, this is the time to buy the blood in the streets. Dollar cost average. Keep that pile of dry powder. Wait for that dip. In case it never comes and the bottom is already in, which I personally think it's not. I could be wrong. That's not financial advice. I personally think the bottom's not in. However, if it is in and it was in that month and a half, whatever it was ago, that 17.5K was the bottom, I am dollar cost averaging in. Most people miss it. It's very hard to time the bottom, and time in the market always beats trying to time it. Let's look at the bear ball index here from CNN, and we're up a little bit. All right. A week ago, we were in extreme fear at 18, and we're about where we were a month ago. We were in extreme fear at a 36. And want to try something new today for you guys. I'm going to start a new segment called Calling Out the Clowns. Yes, we're going to call them out. The Alex Mashinskis, the Jamie Dimons, the Gary Ginslers, we're going to call them out here. The Alchemists are going to call them out and put them on the spot. The Charles H's, when they do dumb stuff or say dumb things, we're going to call them out. Let's take a look at this. Sentiment is not good in the market. Sentiment is at an all-time low. This is the bullish indicator. 20% of the people out there right now investing in these digital assets in crypto and in the macro believe that the bull run is right around the corner. And that's a small percentage. The other 80 are like, no, we're going down. Shout out to Ben Cowan. If you don't know who he is, I would look him up, give him a follow. This guy knows his stuff. He just dropped this poll a few minutes ago, about a half hour ago, and I thought I'd share it with you guys because sentiment is very bearish. But you got to remember, when the fear is high and the sentiment is low, you cannot be a sheep. The alchemists know, go in to the burning building, buy the blood. So typically, when sentiment is low, it's going to do the opposite. So everyone believes we're going lower, we're going lower, we're going lower. That's usually when markets surprise people. That's not financial advice, I'm just saying. Something to think about from Mr. Cowan. All right, now, calling out the clowns. Here we go. Disgraced at-large crypto founder Do Kwon denies he's on the run despite Singapore police saying he's gone. So he dipped. He withdrew millions and millions and millions of dollars, him and his team, and dipped out of the country before the heat came. $60 billion was wiped out in minutes. People's life savings. There was people that committed suicide over this. They invested their grandmother's whole fortune, life savings, everything, all their family's money. A lot of people got wrecked by this guy, and he's on the run. Apparently, there's a red card out on his visa, so if he tries to move between countries without a backpack over the mountains, I'm talking roads and checkpoints, if he goes through them, they will snatch him up. I would not want to be this guy, even with all those millions right now. So we're going to do that every time we see clowns moving into space. We're going to call them out and calling out the clowns. Now, let's check in on the chosen one. XRP coming in at 45 cents. This thing is chopping sideways right in that 45-cent range. Let's look at it on the daily. It's not moving much. It's down a little bit on the daily, but it's still in that 45-cent range. It's still, off that 50-cent range, that 2 for $1 range. So you're getting a little more bang for your buck here. If you're interested, check it out. Not financial advice, I'm just saying. Let's look in on Fiat Leak and that beautiful XRP flowing around the world. It's moving all over. And when mass adoption kicks in and we get regulatory clarity and regulation on these assets, these things are going to explode. All that cash parked on the sidelines, waiting to enter this space, is going to flood in. This thing used to have some real good numbers. It was doing real good. If you didn't know, it was coming up in the top 10 and was number 2 right behind the first mover Bitcoin until the SEC lawsuit. Now look at this. This is a fun fact. January 5th, 2017, you could have bought XRP at this price. Pennies, folks. Tenths of a penny. And by 2018, a year later, it had gone up to $3.50. So if you had dropped a cool grand in here at this price in 17, When the top came in at 350, if you would have got out right there, you would have done really well. In any event, you're still not late because this SEC lawsuit has allowed myself and all the alchemists to continue to acquire this digital asset at basement bargain prices. 33 cents, 29 cents, 15 cents. If you pick some up there, congratulations. However, we are currently on the 1,748th, 7th or 8th day of sideways consolidation since the all-time high. So we're down off this 350. This thing's dropped $3 in 4 years on this lawsuit news. And once this thing settles, like a phoenix, it will rise. The chosen one will dominate this sector and this space. Now, there'll be other players out there, don't get me wrong. It's going to be a big enough playing field for a few guys to jump in. I think all the ISO tokens will be in there. I think there'll be a lot of good stuff out there happening, you know. Just position accordingly. Do your own research. I highly encourage you to do your own research, check it out, and look into it. Now, regulations are coming. EU Commissioner urges lawmakers to hurry up with crypto regulations. They want them. We're getting them. They know we're working on bills over here. You got Loomis. You got Gillibrand. They're working on landmark legislation to create regulatory framework for these digital assets. They're calling Bitcoin a commodity. They're calling ETH a commodity. And they're saying mostly everything is securities with the exception of a few others. They won't specify just yet, but I think once this lawsuit is settled and they're deemed a currency or a security or whatever, it's probably going to be a currency. The CFTC already called them a currency. I think we'll see this thing really take off, mass adoption kick in, institutional money come in, those liquidity pools will open up. Banks in the U.S. will start using it, as well as the 300 plus banks around the world that are already holding it. Now, let's take a look at this. Judge approves amicus brief filed in Ripple defense. Judgment expected in 2023 in the first quarter, so this thing is coming soon, folks. If you're not holding it and it settles, you're going to see an explosion in price. Not financial advice, but so TapJets, iRemit, and now a third utility case has been added. A third amicus brief case for utility has been added, and this thing will get clarity. This guy is calling it a security because I think he has an ulterior motive. However, like we just mentioned, the CFT, former chairman of the CFTC, has already declared XRP a currency. It's a currency. It's been used with TapJets. It's being used with iRemit. It's being used many, many places and will be used for cross-border payments and payments of all kinds. People won't even realize they're using it. This is the financial plumbing, the framework for the future financial system being laid. And they're stalling this thing. This is a stage suit, stalling this thing, suppressing it till they can try and, jockey for position. The banks are trying to get in position. Gary's probably got a lot of pressure from his friends on Wall Street. Don't let this thing loose until we can put ours out. JP with Onyx and ETH, and it's not good. We need to get it up to speed like XRP. It's not scalable. It doesn't settle in 3 seconds. The gas fees are high. The transfer fees are high. They're all scrambling, and I think there's an ulterior motive. I think Gary wants that escrow. If you look at the tokenomics on this token, there are 100 billion coins in circulation, total max supply. Circulating, there's only 50. The other 50 billion are locked up in escrow. And there's a good chance that this guy's after it. I think this thing will be settled. I don't think we'll ever see the Hinman emails. I think it's going to happen. They're going to get behind some closed doors, make a deal, piece of the escrow, a fat fine, which we all know Ripple can afford both. And clarity. Currency. Currency it is. Once they have that clarity, and everything else is being called a security, with the exception of ETH and Bitcoin, which are commodities, you are going to see this thing rise like nothing you've ever seen. It will melt faces, folks. It's not named after Jerry's song, Ripple and XRP for anything, for nothing. Now, let's check this out. Bored Ape Yacht Club founders talk SEC investigation. Gary wants it all. He's after the apes. So he's after NFTs. He's after stocks. He's after everything. Crypto. He's coming for it all. He's making that name, going after that treasurer job. Now, I touched on this yesterday, but I wanted to touch back on it. This came out a few days ago, October 12th. Bill introduced in Congress to put gold, the U.S. back on the gold standard. If this happens, this will be huge. There's talk about it, and I believe the reason there's talk about it is because what I spoke about in my video yesterday. Now, shout out to DAI. Let's check this out real quick. This goes back to gold, the U.S., the petrodollar. It's all tied. This war in Ukraine is not about Ukraine. Look at the bigger picture. Let's listen in.
The petrodollar is actually a device invented by Kissinger and Nixon.
The standard of living of all Americans can be traced back to here, the vast oil-rich deserts of Saudi Arabia.
In the early 70s, after the Arab crisis happened with the
Black
oil
gold
embargoes, OPEC basically tripled the price of oil to the Western world. And at that time, America realized that they were vulnerable because they were importing about 70% of all the oil they consumed.
To secure a reliable foreign source of oil, U.S. President Richard Nixon sent his Secretary of State and National Security Advisor.
And by the way,
Here he
him and
is.
Kissinger, they're about to talk about, this guy's all tied to all those people at the World Economic Forum.
Henry Kissinger to Saudi Arabia for a secret meeting. The result was a pact that still stands to this day.
If Saudi Arabia, which at the time was the world's largest producer of oil, would sell the oil in US dollars, America would defend Saudi Arabia and make sure the House Assad would stay in power.
As a direct result of this U.S.-Saudi agreement, all other oil-producing nations also adopted the dollar as the de facto medium of exchange. Demand for it increased exponentially all over the world, and soon it had a new name, the petrodollar.
Your currency is only as strong as the demand for it, just like anything else, the supply and demand. Why the petrodollar is important, it causes a demand for the US dollar. A lot of Americans don't realize that over 70% of all the $100 bills in the world are actually outside of the US. There's more $100 bills in Russia than there are in America.
This stockpile of U.S. dollars in countries around the world is because oil is bought and sold using the greenback.
If oil starts trading in non-petrodollars, such as gold or a basket of currencies, or if China and Russia start trading in yuan and ruble rather than US dollars, that demand isn't there. And the way of life for the average American will be done. It will be worse than the Great Depression.
All
Alright, so check that out. That deal stands to this day. And if the Saudis join the BRICS nations and other nations around the world, and they get off the petrodollar, things can get real ugly real quick here for us, here stateside. Now, I want to know what you guys think. Comment down below. Is the U.S. going back on the gold standard, or is it never going to happen? I want to know, alchemists. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Now, there's this. Do we have the gold to go back on the gold standard? I don't think we do. They haven't opened this thing up. This is from 74. Take a look inside.
But Fort Knox continued to refuse to allow the public inside.
Why would they do that? Why would they refuse? Why wouldn't they just give tours, guarded tours with extra security and open it to the public and charge to get in so we can buy more gold. But no.
Finally, in 1974, for the first and probably last time, a dozen congressmen and 100 journalists were invited inside.
First and last time. Since then, no one's been in there. There's no proof there's anything in there but dust.
Among them was a young senator from Kentucky called Walter Huddleston.
Anyway, you can check this out. It's on YouTube. Just look up Fort Knox if you're interested. Now, Saudi Arabia expresses desire to join BRICS family. I talked about BRICS in yesterday's video. If you missed it, go back and check it out. If these countries all come off the petrodollar and they join the BRICS nations, and Saudi joins them, and the House of Saud does not hold to the deal that still stands today. Tomorrow, maybe not, but today it stands. Things could get real ugly. Petrodollar could fall, which could mean disaster for us. Now, who does have gold? Russia accumulates gold as BRIC nations since the age of the dollar is toast. So this is possibly a reality in the near future. So it's a good time to harbor things like food, water, gold, silver, cash, fuel, freedom seeds, some shells, things you are going to need if this happens. You need to be prepared. You need to be ready. Who else has got a lot of gold? China, one of the BRICS nations. Russia, they're stockpiling, have been for years. China almost certainly owns more gold than the U.S. Here's why that matters, because if they say, look, we're going to start trading oil in our currency, or in Russian rubles, for example, or in other BRICS nations, or in Saudi money, whatever that is. If that happens, it's going to get real ugly. Whatever currency it chooses to use, if it's not the dollar, it will get ugly. It will get real ugly. Now, last thing I got for you guys is trading on BitYard. I killed a long this morning right here. If you take a look, I went long. I used a lot of leverage. I went hard. I saw it coming. I was taking a look at the DXY versus crypto, and I saw this DXY dump right here. And when I saw it pumping real hard and then starting to peak and coming around, as soon as it started coming down, I opened a position. I opened up a long. So I got in right around here. And I captured some candles right up to about here. I wasn't greedy. I got out. I mean, I could have stayed in. I would have had it endure this. So I pretty much exited the position right around here. And you can do that by going long and short, following me in the Discord at alchemycryptocypher.com, and I will show you how to do this. You can make money in these markets, whether they're up or down. Just watch the DXY. When the DXY dumps, crypto pumps. And you can see it. It's inversely correlated. These things move depending on what each other are doing. So that's something to check out. If you're interested, check it out in the Discord, alchemycryptocypher.com. You can see it there. You can sign up there. So I do my trading on BitYard, and with that, I think I'm going to leave you guys with this video, that Nord Stream pipeline. All right, alchemists, everybody, thanks for coming in. Till next time. Catch y'all in the next one. And if you don't know, now you know.